parties. I was in the Assembly on Friday. You'll have seen taking questions for everyone. I think this is a workable protocol, a workable arrangement is in the interest of everybody in Northern Ireland. And it is only if we can find something that's in the interests of everybody that we're going to get something workable.
Do you think a workable protocol is achievable?
I do, actually. I think, if one looks at all the sort of difficulties of the last few years and all the different kind of versions of various agreements that we've gone through, I think we've tried a lot of things, and I do believe that teams who have that sort of history and exploration of the issue can find a way forward. I genuinely do believe that. I think we all think that, and if we can do it, that would be great. We'd love to get into a discussion that is a bit more fundamental than the one we've been able to have at the moment.
Thank you very much, Lord Kane.
Thank you, Lord Chairman, and Minister, you're very welcome along with your officials. I'm afraid I've become, in De Valera's words, the Legion of the Rearguard in this committee. Two questions, if I may, very quickly. Obviously, we look forward to whatever the government might announce in the next few days before the parliamentary recess. And as you know, I've supported efforts to make improvements to the protocol for the benefit of everybody in Northern Ireland. But do you accept that there are a good many people in Northern Ireland who will take the view that no amount of tinkering with the protocol will ever be satisfactory, who object to it fundamentally on constitutional, democratic and political grounds? I mean, I've just had a text email this afternoon in response to my question in the House on kosher food, basically saying that the whole thing has to go, it's impractical and a constitutional outrage. So first question is, how do you think the government can better address those concerns? Question two, you referred to the vote in 4 years' time. Could you just give an outline of the process that would be followed should the Assembly in 4 years' time vote down the protocol? What would be the prospects of such a vote leading to the actual disappearance of the protocol? Or would it simply precipitate a negotiation in which essentially the protocol is brought back in a slightly modified form, but with very little of difference? So in other words, to coin a phrase, is the vote in the Assembly a meaningful vote?
Thank you, Lord Kane. I think on your first question, I said, I think before the Assembly on Friday, I didn't have a very good answer to this question, and I kind of repeat that because I think it's inherent in the structure of the protocol that the democratic legitimacy issue is a very difficult one. That's clear, and what we were trying to find was to coin a phrase, a balance in which certain things were painful but acceptable in the broader interest, and trying to sort of respect all the balance and the different strands of the Good Friday Agreement, the delicate balance in Northern Ireland. And clearly we didn't quite find that. We know that from experience now, even if we thought it at the time. So I think what I would say is that those who are concerned about the democratic constitutional issue have a very fair point. And clearly we didn't quite find the right balance. We need to find a way of respecting that. It would probably always be an element of compromise rather than perfectionism, given the circumstance, but it's a totally legitimate concern, and one that we felt very strongly at the time, to be honest, negotiating this. I think on your second question, I mean, I think what happens, obviously, if there is first point actually is, of course, that I think the treaty, the protocol provides for the protocol to disappear unless the Assembly votes for it to continue. So that's the formal arrangement. And if it disappears, then there's a 2-year process in which we seek to agree something else. I think in those circumstances, personally, I find it, inconceivable that there would simply be, a further process that produced, something like the same outcome. I think, one speculating, obviously, but the politics would be quite significant to that point. And certainly, if we were in that situation, I would imagine that would be taken as a vote to, find a different way. And as has been said, there are different ways, and we would need to seek to find one. But obviously, that is in 4 years' time, and the problem is more urgent than that.
Thank you very much, and I think that final point is really important. If I might just take one liberty finally, just returning to the beginning on trust. I mean, in negotiations, I've obviously been involved in a number of Northern Ireland negotiations myself, and while I agree with people that building trust is absolutely essential, is it also not very important that the people across the table need to know that ultimately you will be prepared to take unilateral action to defend this country's interests?
So, as we've said, all options are on the table, and we are in a different situation now to the one in 2019, when we were still a member of the European Union, and a lot of people wanted us to stay a member, and that was an important element of the politics that we're trying to manage. It is different now. Obviously, the protocol exists, and we have a range of options for trying to improve the way it works. But certainly, all options are on the table. We've been absolutely clear about that, and continue to be so.
Does that mean reneging?
Very good to hear, Minister.
Sorry to interrupt. Does that mean reneging on an agreement which you have signed on behalf of the government, a treaty obligation?
So there are options which, within the framework of the protocol, allow things to be worked in a different way. And as I've said before, for example, the contrast between the provision in Article 5 for the Union Customs Code to be applied, and Article 6 saying that we should all minimise checks at ports and in Northern Ireland. What is the right settlement point between that? That is a perfectly reasonable point of negotiation for how it should be operated. That doesn't involve any sort of unilateral action or disavowal at all. It is a perfectly legitimate subject for discussion within the framework of the existing protocol. So that's just one example, but that's where we are.
Minister, thank you very much for your answers. Back to you, Lord Chairman.
Thank you very much, Lord Kane and Lord Hayne. The question at the end. I think we've got time for one more question, if there is another question which anybody would like to ask. Any final question? Baroness Alone.
Lord Chair.
Oh, I think I saw Baroness Alone's hand up.
Thank you. I'll be very quick. Lord First, you say that all options are on the table, and yet the evidence which we have received tells us that there are major difficulties in making this protocol even begin to work, to supply goods to and from Northern Ireland. So I suppose what I want to ask you is, given the tenor of your evidence to the committee today, what I am perceiving is ongoing instability and ongoing doubt and ongoing lack of trust. Is there anything you can say to give us any reassurance that anything will improve? Thank you.
So the first thing I would say is look at what we say next week and see what we set out as an approach to this. You're absolutely right to worry about prolonged instability and uncertainty, and nobody wants that. The trouble is that we have that now, and simply saying that everything would be okay if we just sort of ignored all that and just implemented the protocol, I don't think that's a kind of realistic way forward. We have to live with the uncertainty and the political disruption that we've got either way. The question is, do we live with something imperfect, or can we try to get something better? And I don't know why anyone would not want to get something better if we could do it. And that is, I think, what we should try and do.
Lord Chairman, if I may say so, it's not just political instability, it's economic instability, and that is profoundly important.
They go together. I agree with you. They both exist. I've got time to take Baroness Rich's question, if you wish, Lord Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lord Chair, and thank you, Lord Frost. You do realise that there is a proportion of the population in Northern Ireland and a majority of the political parties from the nationalist persuasion and alliance as well, who actually support the implementation of the protocol, because all that they are looking for, and I come from that part of the family, so to speak, we're looking for political and economic stability. So can you give us assurances that there will be continued working with the European Union and with the European Commission in order to devise those mitigations and those solutions that undoubtedly are urgently required and will be part of your plans that you will announce next week? Thank you, Lord Chair.
100%. We, it may not be visible, but there are discussions taking place all the time on this range of issues. And, we obviously, if we're going to find a solution, we're going to have to do it one way or other with the European Commission. And that is absolutely part of it. As regards opinion in Northern Ireland, obviously you're absolutely right that different political parties have different views on this question, but the polling suggests that there is a sort of fairly stark divide on the way the protocol's working. And as I said, I've certainly I've not spoken to many people who do not acknowledge some difficulties with the way it is operating, even if they take a sort of broader, their broader views on some questions are different. And I think that's what I hear, and we try and take it into account.
Thank you, Lady Richard. Thank you very much, Lord Frost. Thank you very much to you and to Rebecca Ellis for the evidence you've given to us. That's been extremely valuable to us as we draw to the end of this inquiry, and indeed we hope to be able to produce a report in the next few days. I heard what you said at the beginning about the number of select committees and others that you have to attend, and I feel for you, but we very much hope we will nonetheless have the opportunity of talking to you again, because we are a committee which does have as among its members many who live in and experience daily Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland affairs and take a really profound interest in it. And it is terribly important to us to hear from you from time to time. But on this occasion, thank you very much indeed for talking to us. And we're extremely grateful to you. And I now need to pronounce the magic words that this session is now formally at an end.
Thank you, Lord Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much,
all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Bye.